Okay. I think we will call to order the meeting of the Human Services Committee at 5 o'clock. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Sear.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Laring.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Pego.
Here.
Chairman Skolnick.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins. Here. Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Here. Thank you. We'll now have a motion. I will accept a motion to approve the minutes of May 4th.
So moved.
Support. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll now move to public comment, and I may remind you there's a 2-minute limit. Please state your name, your place of residence. Please be respectful. We will, of course, follow the Roberts rules and the rules we passed last year. Public comment.
On the agenda. I'll get the right meeting.
All right, and these are on an agenda item only. Thank you.
I got the right meeting down there.
Yes.
My name is Sandy Kemp. I'm a resident of Muskegon County, living at 713 Flower Street. Regarding the agenda item to censure Commissioner Loring, I am firmly against the county commission censoring him. I feel that censoring him for something that he's posted on his personal Facebook page is incorrect. I think that it hinders his freedom of speech. And I feel that on a personal Facebook page, it should be allowed. If you were to post it on the county commission page, that would be something different. But this is a personal page. My second point is, if we censure Commissioner Loring for that, why wasn't, and with all due respect to Commissioner Nash, why wasn't he censored when during the Zoom county commission meetings, he had a Black Lives Matter background, and I found it offensive to support one particular group of people. And I feel that should not have happened. And it was offensive, it was divisive. Maybe some people would call it racist, I don't know. But it did, it felt that way to me. So I think that all the commissioners should be treated equally. That if one is going to be censored, they all should be censored for things that they do outside of. But to be doing things inside of a meeting is another thing too. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Ann Derwin, Muskegon, Michigan. I agree with her. That's pretty much what I'm going to say. But I think this was childish schoolyard antics. Chairman Skolnick posted something and Commissioner Zach Loring copied it and put it on his Facebook page. He did not share it. That's his personal right to do. Sometimes you can post something, you can put it on your own page, copy and paste it, but that doesn't mean you always should. And where was the public shaming for allowing and encouraging horrific, painful, brutal, and gruesome killing and tearing apart babies limb by limb in and out of the womb, using their body parts for experimentation just
Excuse me, let's
because you
stay on the
can
topic, please.
just because you can due to judicial action doesn't always mean you should. I'm referring to that. Or for a commissioner holding committee positions having a background of an anti-American organization which encourages defunding and killing the police. I don't agree with any of that. Really, what rises to the level of censoring? Is it posting something that someone else had already posted publicly and then name calling? Or is it standing for an anti-American organization while in office? Or encouraging brutal killing of babies? All of this has to stop. Censure is not the answer. Or is it going to be judgment for thee, but not for me? We sometimes see the speck in someone else's eye, but we fail to see the big log in our own. Be the commissioners for the people you were voted to represent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Michael Kemp. I'm from North Muskegon. I'm here because I'm concerned about the attempt to censure President Commissioner Lyman. When I further on read something, was one word that seems to spurred all of this conversation and all these problems. And in the dictionary, it says being out of unusual course of events, singular, odd, questionable character, open suspicion, and a slight word counterfeit. Now, any one of those or all of those could be used in the context that was used in the email and not as perceived by apparently everybody here, almost everybody here. Now, if you need to censure Zach Larry, then you need to censor Commissioner Nash, in my opinion, for when he had the BLM poster in the background during his Zoom sessions at previous county commission meetings. It was, or BLM is divisive, it's racist, it's offensive, and at the very least, Commissioner Nash should disqualify himself from this vote, or he is as guilty as anybody for that. You must treat each commissioner equally, and I believe that I hope that you will make the right decision. Do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Next.
My name is Sandy J. Glore, and I live in Muskegon, Michigan. And I would also like to discuss the topic of Zach's postings. People have the right to say what they want to say. Sometimes it offends others and sometimes it don't. I've even had a few posts that people didn't like what I said on the Facebook. That's too bad. You just, like a duck off of water off of duck's back, you just let it go. You don't make a big issue out of it. And I think that if Zach and Bob had a problem, they should have gotten together. If they couldn't talk together, then they should bring in a mediator. But it should not be brought before the whole county board. And it should not be brought before the whole public. You have other issues that should be decided on without bringing in personal issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Gail Icorst, resident of Muskegon County at 601 Sumner Avenue. And I agree with all of the previous ones that censorship is not the way to go. It is childish actions, and that's the way they should be treated.
Thank you, Ms. Icorst.
My name is Helen Beal. I reside in the village of Fruitport. Zach Laring is my commissioner. And I am here today to ask you to support the resolution to censure Zach Laring's remarks. I find them to be an embarrassment to our district, as well as an embarrassment to Muskegon County. This is not a free speech issue. This is about hate speech. And although it may have started on Facebook, it is well known throughout the land now. Hate speech makes people feel unsafe. It encourages physical violence against others. Commissioner Skolnick, I am sorry about the post on Facebook and the childish action of my commissioner. But you have many friends, and they have all turned out to support you overwhelmingly. What I am asking commissioners to do today is to speak up and support the voiceless in our community, the marginalized groups, minorities, poor people, the LGBT community, that also have been attacked needlessly by Commissioner Laring's jokes. You were elected to be leaders of Muskegon County, and now you need to lead by example. Your yes vote to censure Commissioner Laring will send a strong message to everyone that all residents and businesses are welcome here. And it will also send a message to our children, our grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren if we have any hope to live in a better world. I want to finish with a quote from Elie Wiesel. He was a Holocaust survivor, author, and Nobel Peace Prize winner. We must take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are endangered, when human dignity is in jeopardy, national borders and sensitivities become irrelevant. Wherever men and women are persecuted because of their race, religion, or political views, and I would add sexual orientation, at that moment, that place must become the center of the universe. Thank you, and Commissioner Nash, I want to apologize for the previous comments. Black Lives Matter is not a racist organization. It is a organization that is seeking to try to find some justice in our society, and I find those comments extremely offensive.
Thank you. Ms. Beal, is there another? You first.
My name is Kwame James. I was speaking the same issue. I am a resident of Muskegon and also a member of Muskegon Public School Board of Education. And I'd like to talk just a moment about public service and what it means, in my view, to be entrusted with the work of serving on a committee like this. There is an expectation that the work that is done here is a collaborative work. It's the work of cooperation. It's the work of finding common ground so that the whole community can be enriched by the choices that are made in its management. I understand that the comments, the posting on Facebook was emblematic of a trend of expressions that have come from a commissioner. And that trend has led over the years of his service to an increasing sense of division in our community. And I feel like it's pretty clear that an unapologetic callousness is an inappropriate attitude for someone in a position like this to take about issues that obviously impact people in the community that we are here to serve in a very profound way. That's me making sure that I don't overstretch. But yeah, I think that says it well enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James.
My name is Rachel Soreska. I live in Muskegon Township. White, straight, male, Christian. Commissioner Laring has made clear through his offensive posts online that he represents only those that fit that description. His most recent post harassing Commissioner Skolnick is behavior unbecoming of a commissioner and creates a hostile work environment for an elected official. But his posts also create a hostile community environment for the BIPOC and LGBTQ community who have made their homes in this county and in his district. Commissioner Laring has posted racist and homophobic memes and comments since taking his seat on the commission and has posted misinformation regarding the COVID-19 virus and vaccinations jeopardizing public health and safety. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. I am asking that this committee approve Commissioner Hovey Wright's resolution to censure Commissioner Laring. It is necessary to the integrity of this commission. The county is more than white, straight, male, and Christian. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reska. Are there any other comments? No.
You have some.
Any online? Yeah, can you call it? Because I don't have my thing. Oh, okay. Number 292. Number 292.
Yes, hello, Tammy Barnhart, Muskegon County resident. I'm calling in regards to about Marcia's censorship of a county commissioner. I think it's completely outrageous that you're doing this. I really thought you were going to let it go. First of all, this resolution includes half truths, half, one-sided, to where you say that the public contacted the board with outrage. What about the ones who contacted in support? You're only going to report half the story? This is just ridiculous. Also, you said in there that the public expressed concern for immediate resignation. Well, the other half of the story, people want him to stick around for a long, long time. How about putting that in there too? And also, next, I want to talk about, you want to, so what if he shut down or heightened the security of his Facebook page? Who the heck put anybody else in charge of his personal Facebook page? A matter of fact, Robert Skolnick blocked me from his personal page, and I can't do anything about it, and nor should I be able to, especially when I said nothing wrong to him. I respectfully was made a comment to him, and he just happened to not like it, so he blocked me. But you know what? That's his business because it's his personal page. Last, you indicated in there that now you want to make Muskegon, the county of Muskegon, make a policy about Facebook and your conduct on there. Who the hell are you? The freaking Nazis? You got to be kidding me. You were elected to do a job. We didn't elect you for 24/7. I don't care what you do on your own personal time. This is unbelievable. You're setting a prestige for more BS, and it's all about interpretation. So the other day I'm driving and I have it on dash cam that one of you all pulled out in front of me and almost caused an accident. Now, it was an accident. It was on your own time. Should you have a letter for that too? This is ridiculous. What people do on their own time is their own business. I can't believe you would even try to make a policy now. I mean, unbelievable that you want to censor free speech. Just unbelievable. Any of you that vote for this kind of crap to censor this stuff, we see where you stand. It's all about Nazism and taking control.
Your time is up. The next one would be Mary Valentine. Mary Valentine, please unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay, Mary Valentine from Norton Shores. Of course, you should vote to censor Zach Laring. His comments are disrespectful and insulting, and he's been doing this ever since he was elected. And now he stooped to name calling. And yes, we do protect his freedom of speech, but I have a freedom of speech to say we have to stop this. This is ridiculous. He's giving our county a black eye. Responsible people do not like this sort of thing. And it's our responsibility as citizens to hold him accountable, and it's your responsibility as leaders in this community to hold him responsible. For one thing, so our children can understand that this type of behavior is completely unacceptable. And we certainly cannot allow this type of name calling as a tourist destination. There are people who have already canceled reservations here in our county because they don't want to be associated with this type of thing. I hope we can go even further and remove him from committees where that is possible. I would also like to encourage everyone to stay on topic. A couple of people have come in and said things that do not relate to this issue. And those should not be said. And since it's brought up, I totally support. I mean, Black Lives Matter is an American association, just wants equality for all people. So I guess that's all I have to say. Please vote to censor this man so we can put an end to this name calling and insulting people and start acting like adults. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Valentine. Next up is Carol Voigt. Carol, would you unmute, please?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, speak a little louder, please.
Okay, Carol Voigt, North Muskegon area, Laketon Township, Muskegon County. And it's my opinion that when you take on a job like a commissioner or a senator or a representative or any kind of public thing, that you don't have, that there is a sense of decorum that you must follow. And just because it's his personal Facebook page, he needs to feel that there is a sense of decorum that he has to maintain. And it doesn't include making fun of groups of people like the minorities and Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ people, nor the poor. He has a responsibility to be able to maintain some kind of decorum, and it's not about free speech. It's about the kind of office that he's holding, and that he needs to be responsible for his comments. And I strongly urge the committee to censure him. Maybe he will then straighten up and not be this kind of vicious person that spreads hate through our county. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Voigt. I believe I skipped over Jason Hall. You're next. Jason, please unmute.
All right, thank you. I'm going to also comment on the censure. I even pulled over for this. Mr. Skolnick, our Chairman Skolnick, I want to apologize for what Mr. Loring published. The accusation that you're a little queer with a shoe fetish. I too have publicly not stated right there in the boardroom. I too am a little queer. I have fetishes, ostrich boots, but I am for this censure with an exception, and I believe the board could agree. I would like an amendment to be added to it, that it be sent to every single municipality. Let the whole state know that Muskegon County is not going to stand up for this. We're not going to do this. We are not going to allow a commissioner to speak to another commissioner this way. I would be totally for this as long as we make this public, make everybody know we are not going to do this. I think that's something that everybody could agree with. Also, hopefully this board, anybody is willing to take that amendment up, I'd appreciate it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Just an FYI, Mr. Hall, we do that anyway. If this passes, it will be sent to all the counties across the state. Okay, next up is Josie James.
Hello, I'm Josie James. Thank you for allowing me to make comments. I'm from the city of Muskegon. And this is in regard to the censorship of Commissioner Laring. You know, elected officials have the bully pulpit as an advantage over everybody else. I think probably Commissioner Laring has misinterpreted bully. Bully used to mean a good platform. It didn't mean that you could use your stature as an elected official to embarrass or call people names. That's a form of bullying that can't be tolerated in the public forum. Normally, people who do this sort of bullying, they can't change their behavior at all. And so since it seems as though he can't change his behavior, then we have to change it or at least silence him, because that kind of language is intimidating and insulting to most folks, most normal folks. So I am in full agreement with the censorship of Commissioner Laring. And I hope that this happens, because there's some people who may be amused by his rhetoric, but there are other people who don't like it. And in fact, it can instill fear in people. So I stand by that, and I support Marsha Hovey-Wright's resolution to censor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. James. We have one last, a number ending in 293. Please unmute. State your name and location.
Yes, this is Linda Barnhart. I'm in Muskegon County resident, and I'd also like to comment about the censorship of Mr. Laring. I don't think it's anybody's business about this board or who does what on your own time. You are not elected 24/7. If you were, then that means that everybody could be concerned about what you do in your own property. Maybe your backyard, maybe your bedroom, maybe the way you drive. This is ridiculous. You were hired to do the job. Now, how much time have you wasted on this whole thing here? And this is all up to interpretation. What I might find offensive, maybe you don't. So that's not fair. This is just ridiculous that you're wasting time on this. This, again, this is Nazism. To go ahead and make you want to make a Facebook policy for the county of Muskegon? Does that mean everybody in the county? Does that mean just the county employees, just the commissioners? The way that this is written is absurd. I think you need to take a second look at this if you're even considering it going forward. It's ridiculous. You need to stop this. All you're doing is dividing the county even more. So just stop this rhetoric and get back to the business at hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barnhart. I believe that, Ken Hildebrand. State your name, you have 2 minutes, and location.
Oh, you hear me?
Yeah.
Ken Hildebrand, Muskegon. So, although I don't agree with everything that every viewpoint that exists, the problem here is it's a slippery slope. I'm against the censorship because I've seen enough censorship, and it seems to be that people pick and choose what they want to censor based on how they feel and what they're offended by. And it's a slippery slope, and it's something that I would caution you on your thinking, because once you go down this road, eventually it'll come back to haunt you. It'll haunt your kids, it'll haunt your grandkids. It will bite you eventually. We know what history is, and we can learn from history and what's happened in the past. I am kind of a history buff, and I understand what's going on. And even though the comments of some individuals, either side, are found offensive, when you start censoring and picking and choosing because you're upset about something, you're opening a can of worms. So I am against the censorship. Thank you.
We have Tracy French. Please unmute. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, great, thank you. I would like to just voice my support for the censorship of Mr. Laring. It's just gone on too long. It's exhausting, and it's exhausting to everyone in the county to have to go back and forth with this nonsense. He's made very derogatory remarks regarding Black men, referred to them as monkeys in a previous Facebook post. We just need to be done with it and move forward. He needs to learn how to respect people. And when people talk about having policies for Facebook, there are many employers, because like it or not, you are employed by the county. You voted in, but you are employed by the taxpayers. And you can't just do certain things when you're in a certain setting and post certain things on social media. And it's gone on long enough. It needs to be done, and we need to just move forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I believe that's it. For comments, yes, okay. So we will proceed with the agenda. So items for consideration, HS 21/07-12. Public health, this is from Kathy Moore, to authorize public health to accept the Great Lakes Beach Monitoring Grant from the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy in the amount of $9,014 and to contract with Grand Valley State University Annis Water Resource Institute not to exceed $8,320 for related sampling and testing services with no effect on county general fund, and further authorize public health director to sign the agreements.
So moved.
Support.
Is there any comments, questions, or concerns? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. That passed at 9-0. The next is HS 21/07-13. Again, from Kathy Moore, to authorize public health to accept additional funding in the amount of $19,200 to the extent the effective date until December 31st, 2022. Subcontract with GVSU Annis Water Resources Institute to conduct fiscal year 21-22 inland beach monitoring in the amount of $17,773, and authorize the public health director to sign the related amendments with the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy and GVSU Annis Water Resource Institute.
So moved.
Support. There's a motion to support, motion and support. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
I'd like to ask Kathy if.
Could you speak into your mic better?
Oh, I'm sorry. If the beaches are still being inspected with the grant from last year?
Kathy Moore, Public Health Director. Yes, and part of the extension is because there were additional dollars. So yes, the students at Grand Valley State University will go to the different beaches. One grant is for beaches connected to Lake Michigan. The inland beach grant is for those not directly connected. But yes, they are still doing that.
All right, and then one last question. It seems like in previous years, I've seen a lot of announcements about closings. I haven't seen many this year. Am I missing them?
No, we have not had, we just had one, just one recently, but we have not had many. And when we do, we connect with the local municipality, and we also notify the commissioner in that jurisdiction, but we also send notice to Mark Eisenbarth, the county, who I believe sends out the notice to all commissioners.
Is that it?
That's
For
it.
questions?
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes, and that motion passed. The next item is HS 21/07-14, and this is from DJ Hilson, to approve the prosecutor's request change of the reimbursement cost per unit for the Safe Seniors Task Force and Collaborative to $47.07 per unit to support 4,110 units of service and make it retroactive to October 1st.
So moved.
Support.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, just a FYI, the Senior Activities Committee did look at this, and there was no motion to forward it. There was no motion to support it or a second. So just that's a FYI. But there are people in the audience here that might want to speak. or say anything?
I mean, I'm happy to if you have questions, but.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Sure.
Last time I heard anything, well, I was sort of brought up to date on this, but it's been a while. How much money have you collected in terms of recouping money that seniors have been built out of?
Well, good question. DJ Hilson, Muskegon County Prosecutor. Since the State Seniors Task Force has been in place, we have collected almost $1.7 million. So that's actual money that's gone back to seniors.
Good.
Yes.
Commissioner
Madam
Nash.
Chair,
Yes.
can you tell us exactly how this program has developed and what kind of impact it's had in helping us in the community?
Sure, be happy to. So if you recall, we got started just before really things shut down here in Muskegon County, yet the team continued to work. Currently, we have investigated or been part of about 150 or so investigations. That's led to just about 40 prosecutions, which is an increase both on the investigative and prosecution level, almost double and triple what we would normally see. As a result, because of the increase in volume, and when we started this team, we had no idea that this would open a kind of a Pandora's box, but it has, which is in a sense a bad thing, but a good thing that people feel comfortable now reporting these incidents, and we have a team dedicated to investigating them. As a result, thanks to Jennifer Hodges and their crew, they've dedicated money. We will be bringing on a third investigator from Muskegon Township. So this team will be made up of 3 detectives. Hopefully at one point in time in the future, we'll be able to solely dedicate a prosecutor, but I've been kind of mixing my resources around and using some folks to help the detectives when they need it. And obviously, we've been very aggressive in the prosecutions because our numbers have increased, but that's kind of the history where we're at.
They have also secured funding from a lot of the communities.
Yes.
Great. And their senior activities funds.
We've had a lot of support from the surrounding townships and cities earmarking some money for this effort, so we greatly appreciate that.
I'm just curious, what types of things, just a short list maybe of the things that you're finding?
Well, what's interesting is it's kind of a mixed bag, mostly financial exploitation. So folks taking advantage of their aged friends, getting into their nest eggs via scams and stealing. We've also seen an increase in romance scams. Apparently there's some lonely folks out there who feel that when Inga sends them the email that she's coming, if all they need to do is send $5,000, that they're falling for it, unfortunately. So I mean, it's sad in the sense that that's happening, but it is
relentless.
And those folks, our seniors deserve this kind of protection. And I'm really happy that we've been able to give that to them. I mean, this is very unique. There are no other counties in the state of Michigan that have a team like this. And so we should be very proud of that.
Yes.
I just wanted,
Commissioner Sue.
I just wanted to complain at DJ because I wanted to tell my township with a officer with you, because that was really well supported, and I was really proud of them, and then you stole my thunder.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
We're very excited about it. We're very excited.
I'm
about
so
it.
excited.
Yes, we're very excited.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Matt,
Yes, please. Go ahead.
DJ, do you have any kind of reporting that you're following? Is there any part of the area of our county that you see more of these cases than others?
I did. You guys may have gotten it late, and
Demographics.
I apologize because I did have Kristen Barnhill send that to you, but I have it in front of me, and I'm happy to tell you that we've seen a majority of our cases. Let me find it here. So we've seen a good percentage of our cases in the city of Norton Shores. That's about 26%, almost 20% in the city of Muskegon. Fruitport and Fruitport Township have seen about 12.5%. In Muskegon Heights, almost 6%.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Madam Chair, can I ask one
Yes,
more
go ahead.
question? Has this led to any prosecutions?
I'm sorry?
Any prosecution?
Yes, yes, we have, like I said in my opening remarks, we've charged about 40 some cases as a result. We've been very successful in, again, obtaining restitution in the amount of $1.7 million. And so our prosecutions have increased. We've been able to, again, because of the great investigative work, it makes the prosecution a little bit easier. So yeah, we've seen an absolute increase in the prosecutions this year.
I have a question.
Yes,
Now,
Mr. Stone.
Mr. Olson, are you under oath right now?
No.
Oh, okay, then I guess. Are you missing a Little League game right now?
No, the Little League season is over, thankfully. Thank you.
Okay. All right, are we ready for a vote? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Waring,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to, is there any unfinished business? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. And I have a few comments to make. The new business is HS 21/07-15, and that's the resolution to censure. So I'm speaking to the resolution to censure, SENSURE, Mr. Laring. And I want to
We don't-
define.
Madam Chair, we don't have a motion on the floor. The debate's not open.
I can't speak as a chair, as the chair. You have to put
The motion has to be approved before it can be
All right.
debated.
So moved. Support.
Okay, so censure means to express disapproval of something in a formal statement. It's basically a slap on the hand. Censor, to censor, SENSOR, means to suppress or prohibit books, films, news, etc. that are obscene or politically unacceptable. We do not have any power to censor Zach Laring, only to censure him. I'm introducing this resolution to censor due to an outcry of public opinion that Mr. Laring's posts, and particularly those about another commissioner who knew the little queer had a shoe fetish. Just as in junior high, bullies must be called out at the very least. The public was so offended that there were over 100 protesters at our last meeting on June 27th, chanting against Commissioner Laring and asking for his resignation and removal. I had a slew of emails as well, asking for the commission to do something. I had not one email in support of his behavior. We as a commission do not have the power to ask for his removal, but we can censure him. Clearly, everyone here has First Amendment right to free speech, but we don't have the right to avoid consequences for what we say. In this case, and in several other Facebook posts, Commissioner Laring used hate speech, derogatory speech, speech unacceptable to the people of Muskegon County. His behavior has embarrassed our commission, this commission, and this county, and even caused some to cancel their plans to vacation here. According to our legal advisor, quote, "We are not infringing on his right or removing him from committees," unquote. If you need guidelines short of the county commission developing those guidelines, developing clear expectations for social media, as it says in the resolution. The Bible says, treat others the way you want to be treated, or what would Jesus do? Again, to quote our twice passed Love Lives Here resolution, all that is necessary for evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. And this is from Edmund Burke. And we are attempting to do something. For too long, we have been silent, but being silent, and this is a quote, when another is attacked verbally, physically, overtly, or passively is not acceptable. And this again is from our resolution of Love Lives Here. Once this passes the full board this Thursday, I agree with Commissioner Brown that we need to move on to the real business of this county. Thank you. Now we're in, we have a motion and a second, and we're up for discussion.
Madam Chair, ma'am,
You may.
I'd like to address the current conflict between Zach Laring and Bob Skolnick that's been seen on Facebook. I'd like to first say that I vehemently disagree with personal attacks that I have seen on these Facebook posts. I believe it's not the proper way to treat our fellow human beings. I believe that everyone should live by the creed that says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Having said this, I would also like to say that I do not agree with the censure of Zach Laring. In the United States of America, we all have the right of freedom of speech and expression. We may not always agree with each other, but I believe that to censure people for their opinions or expressions would be detrimental to this freedom of speech. If we begin to censure individuals or to call their speech hate speech, I believe that we're going down a road that none of us wants to go down. I believe that what Zach Laring posted was offensive. I have even heard certain people call it hate speech. My question is, who decides what hate speech is? To the individuals that want to censure Zach Laring, I would make this statement. If I were to look at your speech over the last 30 days, I'm sure that there may be something in your talk that I find offensive and could even be considered to me as hate speech. I do not want to get to the place in this country where we censure others just because we disagree with what they say.
Thank you, Mr. Seer.
Madam Chair, may I make a
Yes, Mr.
comment,
Brown?
please? Thank
Or
you very
Commissioner
much
Brown?
for the time. We've been spending a lot of time on this, people. I mean, I don't even know what to say. But I would like to make a comment, and as previously stated, I do not condone Mr. Loring's Facebook post. I feel it's very disturbing, but censorship has to be meaningful. And therefore, I'm not supporting to censor him. I think this resolution is going to be up to the voters. And if Mr. Loring gets voted in the future, that's up to him. We have no power, as our attorney has said before. I also want to make comment, Commissioner Wilkins, you said something very powerful last time, that you've been censored for many, many years. And I took that to heart. This is distraction. The goal should be for everyone in this room is to work on the betterment of Muskegon County. I didn't volunteer my time or go for this job for this type of activity. I'm sorry what happened in the past, and as I said, I'd like to see come to some resolution and let's go forward. He has the right of speech, Mr. Loring does. I don't condone what he said. However, there are consequences again for his actions, and that's going to be up to the voters in Muskegon County. So thank you very much for your time.
Which I also.
Yes, Ms. Hughes. Mr. Hughes.
You know, and I agree with Marcia on the point that says, for too long, we remained silent. And we all saw this happening. I mean, different things have been posted. And I accept the blame, and I put the blame on every one of us. Because if we had a problem with what was being posted on somebody's Facebook page that was a county commissioner, we should have gone and talked to him. And I should have gone and talked to Zach if I felt offended. And it's really up to us, because every one of us that post anything, we are county commissioners. We are recognized in the county, whether we have a personal Facebook page or a county commissioner Facebook page. We are recognized as county commissioners. And in that respect, we do have to be a little bit more careful than others. But we allowed this to happen over and over and over again. And after all this time, when nobody went to Zach and said, hey, I don't like this, or I would like to see you change this, nobody gave him an opportunity to change. And nobody gave him an opportunity to straighten out what he'd done. So I do feel a certain responsibility for that too. And I also will be voting no.
Yes.
I disagree with what Commissioner Hughes just said. I'm not responsible for this man's behavior. This man's behavior is despicable of a human being. He calls himself a Christian, but yet he puts Facebook posts out against people of color, people of Hispanic races, people that are queer, whatever it may be. It's ridiculous as a commissioner. If he was just someone in the public, no one would care. But he is a leader in this community that is supposed to stand up and represent this county. And that is not the representation that most of the people in Muskegon County want to see. And not only that, but now it's beginning to have a financial impact on this community. There are people that are dedicating themselves to not coming and spending money in Muskegon County. until we do something. And that's why I'm not gonna be silent anymore. I'm not gonna be complacent anymore. I was okay with that because I usually let that roll. I let ignorance present itself. But it does come a time and a point where you have to speak up and you have to say something. I don't care whether we pass this or not, but I will vote for this because I will let people know that I stand against it. It's not something that I support whatsoever. And to try to compare my symbol of Black Lives Matter is like apples and oranges. My posting behind me said Black Lives Matter. I believe that. I am a Black man and Black lives do matter. And that has been going on too long, the different things that we've had to deal with. And right now, you're probably benefiting from the greatest white privilege there could be. Because if I was the one that put that posting out, I would be under fire. I would be done for. I'd have to resign. But we have a debate going on because that's the privilege that you get from this. But understand something. People are not happy with this, Zach. They're really not. I would have went and talked to you if I thought you would even listen. But you presented yourself time and time again, even in past years, about other subjects and other things, and you basically just told us you don't care. You don't care what we think. You don't care how people feel. You're just going to do what you want to do. And that's fine. People have a right to do what they want to do. But you also have a right to face this kind of issue at this board level. I'm sorry we have to spend this kind of time on this, and I hope we never have to again. But I'm not going to sit silent. I'm not going to ignore it. I am going to vote for this. But my hope is that we could be done with this and there would be no more posting. That's my dream. That's my prayer. Maybe even one day, maybe we could have a talk. But right now, the way you present yourself, I'm really just not interested.
Thank you, Mr. Natch. Yeah. Commissioner Skolnick.
I just wanted to say that I ignored Mr. Laring's posts for months. He had been making comments about me, he'd been making racist comments, he'd been making all kinds of comments. And I just thought, okay, I don't want to make any trouble. I'm not going to say anything. It finally reached the level that, well, let me back up a minute. All of us are fairly high profile local elected leaders or elected officials. And somebody used the word bully pulpit today. We do have a bully pulpit. When we say something, people listen. It's on, they pick us up. Why do you think the TV picks us up, or radio picks us up, or the newspaper picks us up? Because our voices mean something. And when you insult people, people are listening to you, and all of a sudden it's okay when you call somebody queer or you call somebody has a shoe fetish. It finally got to the point I could not ignore it. And when people here say that it's not our business to censure somebody, I disagree completely. It would be like in Germany. Oh, let's pick on the Jews. Who cares? Nobody cares. So whatever. And then they'll come around and pick on the Polish people. I don't know, but I mean, that's how these things start. Somebody needs to stand up and say something. And I did. Was it uncomfortable? Yeah, it was uncomfortable. You think I enjoyed it? I did not. I will say that I haven't even counted all of them because there were too many. I had over 4,000 either messages, likes, or comments in support of my position, opposing Mr. Laring's hateful, homophobic, and ignorant Facebook posts. He injured the county. He made us a laughingstock. I get messages from when I was on the MAC board, I know a lot of people around the state. I got messages. What the heck are you guys doing? We made the national news. I don't know if you were aware of that for this stupidity. We shouldn't be doing this. And by censoring you and the people that are going to vote against it, all you're doing is saying it's okay for somebody with a bully pulpit to make this county look like we're ignorant. And I, for one, think it's terrible. And if I put something out there and I got hundreds of people who are going to stand up. I'm going to call it a threat. One of the commissioners said to me, we were bringing up an issue, and unfortunately I bent to it because what was said to me was, do you want another circus? Do you want another circus here? Do you want 50 people to show up and talk on the other side of a thing? And I didn't want it. So I did something, I'm sorry I did, but I did it because I didn't think it was an important enough issue to vote the way my heart told me to vote, because I didn't want a 5-hour meeting with people saying things. But you know what? I'm not going to do that ever again. That was bad on my part. I have recruited hundreds of people, and you can bring all the circus you want here, because like tonight, the same 10 people keep showing up and supporting you. I'll bring 100 people in here to talk about the other side, if that's what it takes. And I can't believe that the bulk of the people in this county would agree with that was done. Those of you who vote not to censure him, I'm not saying censor, C-E-N-S-O-R. We're not doing that. We're censoring him. We're saying that we don't approve of your behavior as a public official. There's no consequences to it, but it's just the good people here saying that we don't think that's right.
Marcia?
Thank you.
Comment, please.
Yeah, Susie.
Bob, I understand what you're saying, and I also understand what Charles is saying. All I'm saying is, we never gave Zach the opportunity to answer us. We never went to him and said, Zach, this is not the kind of thing we do as county commissioners, because you represent all of us. And I think we owed him that. I really do. If it was me and I was doing something you didn't like, that you thought was hurting Muskegon County or hurting this board of commissioners, I would expect you to come to me and say that. Instead, we all ignored him and then want to blow this thing out of what I consider is proportion, when we should have sat down with him and talked to him. Or we should have brought it up a meeting like this and said, Zach, you really represent all of us. You represent the county. That's inappropriate. Then if he continued, then we could have done something. But we didn't give him that opportunity. And this is a free country, and I feel like we should have.
Well, just to respond to or Commissioner Hughes, actually several members of this commission did speak to him individually of his own party. And
Madam Chair, may I make a quote, just a comment? After this whole controversy started, and I put up this post about the Bob Squad, all of a sudden his page disappeared to the public, other than I suspect his friends. Now, Mr. Laring said, oh, my wife asked, or made me take it down. Well, how did that happen? Maybe it was because all of a sudden people woke up and started posting things on his page that he didn't like. I don't know. Also, listen, I'm a Republican. I know that people don't agree that I'm a Republican, but I am a Republican. I've been a Republican longer than anybody in this room. The thing is that the Republican Party today, just because they're not exactly the same as my Republican Party, something isn't right here, because they've been asked to leave 2 offices and they're hurting the Republican Party. Now, I'm not saying the Republican Party should be in charge of everything, but he's damaged not only the county, he's damaging the Republican Party in this community. Anyway, that's all. I'm too upset.
Okay, Madam Chair, may I?
You may, please tone down a bit.
Okay, so first of all, as I said last week, and I hate repeating myself, I don't agree with what Mr. Larry, Commissioner Larry did. It's on his private page. You can do whatever you want. It's a public forum. You can say and do anything you want. That's a First Amendment constitutional right. Mr. Chair Skolnick, you're sitting there crying victim because of pages that he took off of your own photograph. I've got the floor.
He took the pictures, not the
He took your photo, a derogatory photo. I don't need this. You're right. I don't need that. I'm loud enough. He took a derogatory photo of your own profile photo of your face in a blonde wig between a transvestite's legs. Number 1. It was public.
That wasn't my doing. That was the ad for the program.
You had on your profile.
Transvestite's legs?
Listen. I'm going to carry on a photo that you had on your profile picture. You put it there, Bob Skolnick. Maybe someone hacked your page and it was your profile pic. I don't know. He did that, put it on his own page. Someone else shared it publicly from there. He doesn't have control over that. I don't care, okay? The point is you're crying victim over him calling you a name, and then the very next day you go and call him a name. It's hypocrisy. So when are we going to censure Mr. Bob Skolnick because of him calling names? We're not. It's dumb. Mr. Homer, may you please explain again for those that don't know on the call or in the public seating, what is this actually going to do and how this prevents them performing their duties as a county commissioner, which what our job is supposed to be is to manage the taxpayers' funds. Neither one of their pages has anything to do with us performing the duties of paying out the bills for the county and managing that. This is ridiculous.
Mr.
And
Skolnick, would you like to
also,
respond?
I'm also going to address the circus about a commission, I think it was Mrs. Hovey Wright, that someone, it was me. But where I got it was from Bottom South. He made a comment at the end of one meeting. I'm just voting for this. It was the anti-vaccine passport. I'm voting for this so the circus doesn't come back to town. I took those words in a previous meeting 2 weeks later when Mr. Nash wanted to incentivize vaccination and said, if you do that, you will bring the circus back to town. So you can take it as a threat as you want, but the words were your own and I just reused them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pega. Would you like to respond, Mr. Skolnick?
No. Can I comment?
Yes, Mr. Nash.
First of all, I wanted to say that, Mrs. Laren has been given many multiple opportunities to clean this up. He's made racist comments and jokes on his Facebook for some years now. And especially regarding black balls and white pool balls and I don't even want to bring it up because it's been so bad. And that is the reason why I blocked him. I didn't block him because it offended me. I blocked him because people were just coming at me about his offensive posts. And so I didn't even want to see him. And I haven't seen any until this one came up. And then people were copying it and sending it to me. But what they kept asking was, please do something. And after that post, when I seen it, I'm like, this has really gone too far. I respect, but I don't care what side of the aisle we are. I've always respected him. We have not agreed on a lot over the years, but we've come to work together better over the years because we work together. And that's what's so sad is when I first met Mr. Larry, that's exactly what I was open to. And that's exactly what I want to work to, especially when he presented himself as this great Christian man. But over the years, what he's presented to me has been totally the opposite. You can say one thing, but when you do another, it just doesn't add up. And so I don't see how you can present yourself as a man of God when you talk about everybody of color, you use every kind of, these are jokes. I don't get that, I've seen him even use families as ploys, and never to be seen again. It's crazy. I don't know what extent he will not go to. But my whole thing is that I believe that he's offended this county completely. I believe that he is not working for the mission of this county. I think it has had a financial impact on this county. It is dividing this county. It is taking away from the quality of life of Muskegon County. And these are the missions of the county. It's not just finances. We're supposed to make sure that the quality of life is better. We're supposed to make sure that we bring this, and we put out things about love and diversity and things of that sort, and he's totally against it. And I'm offended by the other commissioners that don't see this or want to support those other sides too. I'm offended by that. But I'm not here to censure everyone because of their opinion on voting. I'm here to censure because he speaks it out loud in public for everybody to see, and the public is tired of it. And it comes to a point where you have to stand up because we represent those people. And I'm representing those people. And like I say, whether we pass it or not, I'm going to make my stance known today, no matter what.
Thank you, Mr. Nash.
Mrs. Chair, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to address Chair Skolnick on his comment of him being a Republican. Mr. Chair, how come you have a red communist star on the back of your Bob Squad logo? Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Let's skip
I'd
over
like to
that.
have a comment if I may.
Yes, Mr. Larry.
So I don't really know where to begin with this whole thing. One, I don't wear my faith on my sleeve. If where you come to my views of Christianity, I'm not quite sure. I don't know that I made this public profession of faith. I don't deny. I don't know where this happened. I do share Christian information on my Facebook page that probably you would find offensive too, but I like the authors. Secondly, my Facebook page has such minimal. I mean, if I get 20 interactions on my Facebook page, it's a lot for me. I don't, my Facebook page states right at the beginning, an equal opportunity offender. I have offended Republicans, Democrats, whites, blacks, Asians. I probably offended everybody. I don't pull any punches with it. However, to call me a racist, that's actually a charge. And I don't share my faith openly, but you may or may not know that I've had a black family living with me for over a year. That doesn't constitute a racist. I don't try to tout them out in public and make a big deal out of it. Did you even know that?
That's exactly what you did.
I brought them out?
Yes, you did.
When did
You
I-
have professed to be a Christian at this board many times.
Wait, we're talking, what?
But that's what you're famous for too. Tell them what you want to tell.
Okay, I don't know when anyways, this isn't a Q&A. So my Facebook page is my business. The censure will have maybe even a negative effect on this because usually when you punch me, I punch you back and it might get worse. I've probably offended more Republicans than I have Democrats with my Facebook posts. The idea that this censure has any authority over me or my Facebook page, this Facebook page post was so egregious and so horrible that the king of censorship didn't take it down. Facebook himself, you guys reported it. Every one of these leftist groups reported. And how do I know that? Because I saw it in your groups. And what was the comment that came back? I didn't violate any community standard on Facebook. So it never got reported. It never got deleted. It never got taken down by Facebook. I did take it down because my wife asked me to take it down because she didn't like it. And I will allow my wife to censor me. So the key word to this, going back to censure and censor, the key word is still censoring. It approves of your definition that you don't ascribe to something that I've done and you're putting disapproval in. It is a beginning step to censoring somebody. Your next step will be to try to censor. And
we can't.
You can't. You have no authority to do that. My voters will make that decision, and my page is satire. There's probably not one Christian, white, Catholic, anybody I haven't offended with. I've probably offended everybody on this board at one point or another, and will probably continue to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Laring. Are we ready for a vote? Please. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Pego,
No.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
No.
Commissioner Seer,
No.
Commissioner Hughes,
No.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
4 yes, 5 no.
Okay, so that did not pass. All right, is there any public comment? Any public comment on, doesn't have to be an agenda item. Any final board comment?
Go to your.
Yeah. I have a-
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Checking 1, 2, 4.
And Darwin, Muskegon, Michigan. I just wish you would treat all people equally. I really do. This thing didn't pass. But again, this thing with Charles Nash and the backdrop. Black Lives Matter, no, really, Black Lives Matter defunds police, calls for the killing.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Let her speak. This isn't question and answer.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And they've gone out and destroyed so much property and injured people brutally, and there's no been accountability, but encouragement. Now, again, I don't approve of what Zach put on his Facebook page. page, and I told him that, but that's his right. And for any of you to even want to censure him is ridiculous because you are on a slippery slope. I've told you before, I don't care what color you are. We're all God's children.
Amen.
But you better start looking at the big old log in your own eye. You see the speck in his, but you forget about your own. There's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Not a one of you are perfect. Not a one. So shame on you for wanting to even do this. When your brother has aught against you, you go to him. And if you can't settle it, you take another one with you. You don't make it a public fiasco. And Bob, I'm totally ashamed of you. I would never apologize to you for this because you're the one that put it on. Be discretionary I'm talking. Be discretionary what you put on your Facebook. He put it on his Facebook, but he did not share it. So please, everybody, be careful what you put on your Facebook because it is going to go out there. I want you all to work together. No, Charles, I don't go along with this Black Lives Matter. Doesn't my
Your
life
2 minutes
matter?
is over. Thank you.
My life matters too.
Your 2 minutes is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Chris Colley and I reside in 1935 Sarasota, and I am a proud contributor to this community. I'm extremely saddened by this entire conversation, and I'm going to bring my emotions to the table because this isn't right. Unprofessional, completely. If this was a for-profit corporation and you were hired, you would have been fired because there are social media policies, there are anti-harassment policies, and you are not above the law, any of you. And it makes me sad because that's not why you signed up. I'm sure of it. I'm sure you signed up to make a difference and to be a servant leader. Being a servant leader means putting your ego aside to get done what needs to get done. It's not name calling and picking on people. That is not the point of why we have elected all of you.
Ms. Kelly? Any others? Yes. Mr. James?
Tommy James. I am so sure that it is entirely appropriate for a commission like this to be able to say the behavior of one of our members is inappropriate, which is all that censure would mean. It would be the commission stating as a matter of public record that we don't approve of that kind of behavior, which is in fact what many of the commissioners who voted no actually said. We don't approve of that kind of behavior. And so I think it's rather important that we notice the inconsistency between what we my emotions are in this too. You know, here's why I stayed in Muskegon. I moved to Muskegon in 2007, thinking that I would leave in 2008 because I was just here on some family business. And when that settled, I expected to be gone. But I stayed because when I got to Muskegon, I saw that the people in Muskegon, the community in Muskegon was made up of folks who were willing to cross racial lines, cultural lines in a way that was so profound and inspiring. And I feel like this moment is a poor representation of the community that I saw when I decided to stay.
Thank you, Mr. James. Any other? One online, 292.
Yes, thank you. Tammy Barnhart, Muskegon County resident. Yes, I'd like to make some comments about that. I'm glad the vote came out like it did. And if it didn't, I mean, think of how bad things could have been. I mean, during the meetings, you had Charles, of course, put up his BLM things when he's supportive of BLM, when the leaders of that group have been known to be racist, to make racist comments, to defund the police. And I'm sure that, I don't know, maybe you are approval of all that. And I tell you what, I find that offensive. I find it offensive when you said white privilege. What do you mean white privilege? You mean all white people? I find that offensive. When you say that you're oppressed, I find that offensive because I think that you're probably more successful in Muskegon County than probably what, 75% of the people? So how did you get to be so successful if you're oppressed? I find that offensive. Susie, you have animals up on, trophy animals up on your wall, I've seen during a meeting. I'm sure a lot of people find that offensive. You know, where should only be used for food, and here you have them hanging on your thing there. Somebody could find that offensive. So should you all be censored for that stuff? Bob is the one who made it the media. Bob's talking about the silent majority. I think Zach has over 1,000 people in support of him that are silent. I mean, that's a ridiculous point that you made, Bob. It's just an embarrassment to have all this going on. You are not subject to 24/7. Bob, you are not a Republican either. We all know that. Please don't try and make us look any stupider or make you look any stupider. And Nash, to talk about somebody else's view of faith, how dare you? How dare you talk about somebody else's faith and how you interpret that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's what I got to say. This whole thing was ridiculous. You wasted taxpayers' time and money, and I'm glad this goes away, and I hope it goes away forever. Y'all need to start working together. This is ridiculous. Get down.
Thank you, Ms. Barnhart. In the future, I hope that there will be more respect shown of commissioners and other members of the audience.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I want to make one brief comment. Ellen Beal, Village. If there was ever a reason that the county board needs to give $25,000 to the Muskegon Community College to embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is a perfect example of why, okay? And I cannot believe that commissioners who are having to do Zoom meetings from their house are supposed to take down banners or take down pictures. Now, if there was a picture like a U of M banner, that would have been different, but I know. I am a former county commissioner. I was a county commissioner for 5 years in Ingham County, and I'm a Spartan. And I know how hard your job is, but I am disappointed because I think that it is important to take a stand and say, this is not okay. It's a far different thing to talk about Black Lives Matter, but not acknowledge that the chairman of the Republican Party in Muskegon organized buses to go and mount an insurrection against our Capitol. And that's correct. It's not out of line. And actually, this is public comment and I can say whatever I like. And do over $1 million of damage to our beautiful Capitol building in Washington, D.C.
Would the audience please be quiet?
So again, I am very sorry about this outcome. I thought that perhaps that people could take a stand against this kind of behavior. And I would just only hope that maybe Commissioner Laring is chastened enough that he will stop posting these kinds of memes on his Facebook. We all know that if you do try to say anything, he has a tendency just to block you. So maybe that's why you don't get very many people that are opposing your views. And finally, I just want to say one more thing. Abraham Lincoln or Mark Twain or my mother used to say, it is better to be thought of a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Thank you.
Is that it for public comment? Any others? And now it's time for board comment.
May I, Madam Chair?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Homer, may I motion in final board comment or not?
Not typically, no.
Okay,
No.
I'll pass.
Can't shut us up.
This is my opportunity.
Yes, Susie.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, this was a sad situation for all of us. And Zach, I would like to say to you, please refrain from embarrassing the county commission on your Facebook. And I know you have the right to do that, but we all work together and you are very well known as a county commissioner, just like all the rest of us. And when we speak, people listen, not just the people on our Facebook page, but everywhere. And I'd like to see all of us, every one of us, not just Zach, every one of us, think before we push save and commit something to the public so that they can see it. Make sure that it's something that we will reflect well on our county and well on our fellow commissioners. And I'd just like you to think about that when you go from now on, and I will do the same thing. And I ask all of us to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hughes, is there anyone else who'd like to comment?
Madam Chair, I have a final comment.
Sure.
All right, so I don't exactly know where I brought my faith into this necessarily. I don't deny my Christian faith, but I would like to make a correction. So you quoted the Bible in some of your presentation, your resolution. So I would like to take an opportunity to quote a little bit of scripture, and I'm going to read it so I don't get it wrong. It's Romans 1:32, and it's talking about homosexuality. Though they know God's righteous decree that those who practice such things deserve to die, they not only do them, but they give approval to those who practice them. That was my issue with this, with Bob. As a community leader, he is supporting the LGBTQ drag queen brunch at the Civic Center with his presence as a commissioner, giving his commissioner support to that, paying funds to it for a fundraiser. To call that, the press reported it as a fundraiser. To report that as a fundraiser is like calling a drag queen story hour at a library, reading for children. If you want to quote scripture, quote it right. The Bible is very offensive if you read it. Just read through chapter 1. And I think I can almost guarantee you that everyone that is offended by this is going to be deeply offended by the Bible. So if you're going to quote Jesus Christ, my King and Savior, now I've declared it, you better read it before you try to quote it, because it is very offensive to those that don't follow it.
Amen.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Nash.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say that, you know, it's sometimes it's hard to listen to so much ignorance. Christ was nothing but love. That's all Christ is. So people that may be gay or queer or whatever they may be, black, yellow, they're all human beings. And we're called to serve. We're not called to prosecute. We're not called to judge. We're called to love. And the only way you're going to win people over is with love. You're not going to win people over with hate. You're just going to divide people. So, Commissioner Hughes, if you want me to ask him, I'll ask him, please stop it. Please stop it. Because all it's doing is tearing this county up. That comment was just more to tear this county up. And it doesn't have to happen. I know you love the headlines, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to these people. And I'm the only thing I'm disappointed in is for the commissioners to say, I disagree with what he said, but I'm not going to censure him. Then you're contradicting yourself. You know, the message is being sent to this community and people are starting to understand what we really care about. And you can say one thing, but do something else, and it shows. And I pay attention. When you first got on this board, you mentioned Christian multiple times, over and over again. I listen, I pay attention. That's my job. That's what I've been trained to do. I don't say a whole lot, but I pay attention. And the thing is that's what really wanted me to connect with you. You even tried to connect with me with that kind of comment, which I was gladly able to talk to you about. But as your actions began to continue, I saw the real you coming out. And it was not the guy that you presented to. That's why I was so disheartened. And that's why I discontinued even communicating, even through Facebook. I just rather ignore it. It's sad, but this county deserves better. And I'm hoping that people pay attention. And I'm hoping that they make their voices heard because they weren't heard today.
Mr. Chair, a final comment.
Sure.
In
Commissioner Taylor.
regards to Commissioner Nash. Jesus came as a lamb and he professed love and he died as our savior. He's coming back to divide. Not everyone's going back with him. We're supposed to call the light. We're supposed to shed light on the darkness. And that's what Mr. Larry does.
Okay, yeah, okay, I think that's it for comments. Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.